does. Castle does. Okay, so this area over here is what I was working on. And this area right here, these 6 patches right here, are the grassy plateaus area when I was first started doing the episodes. That's right there when I first started recording. So I have all these, and now I'm going to claim all of these. So each of those blue thingies represents a chunk of the world. And here goes me claiming another chunk. What's nice about this chunk is that I'm claiming those 6 batches right there. And it's one of the biomes is going to be the same biome that I had worked with before in the first area is grassy plateaus. So now I'm getting a sort of safe shallows. So like the area that I'm working on is probably even closer to the beginning of the game than the grassy plateaus area than before. So what I'm doing at this point right now, you see how the textures are blending all kind of funny in this? I'm going through and I'm making new materials because I want to try and find a way to help with this problem. I just burped really loud. Well, it wasn't that loud. So I'm spending all this time just kind of getting materials in place because I know that I'm going to be working with these environments and I'm just getting prepped. And you know, as this entire area is sort of like a blank sheet of nothing. And I dated on Trello, and I got this like from the very beginning before I did any touch-ups at all. I haven't even so much as touched a voxel or a height map on this sucker yet. I mean, you're getting to see everything from the like from the damn get-go, man. Okay, so the red right here, that's grassy plateaus. And that blue over there is safe shallows. So there's 2 biomes that are sort of melding into each other. Grassy plateaus is very kind of black, like grassy, plateau-y. It's plateau-y, more than grassy. I mean, you get a little bit of grass here and there. So I'm building a safe shallows chunk right now, which is sort of, I don't know, I guess maybe I interpreted it wrong looking at the existing geometry for that. I need to have more like rolling hills, and I end up doing kind of more plateau-y, but like roots coming around the sides. I'll have to end up tweaking this, but my goal is to get just a little tiny chunk of this area in place and then start using the materials that I just made and sort of apply them. That way I can get kind of an idea of what I'm dealing with, at least as far as the materials are concerned. And also, too, I want to make sure that these areas like they blend together well, where it doesn't seem too obvious that there's a totally different designer did this versus a totally different designer over here. Like there's the borders. So it's going to be interesting to kind of coordinate and make sure that these areas blend together pretty well. And I mean, there's really nothing wrong with having an area that feels a little bit different from the previous areas, but it can't be so much of a transition. You know, instantaneously, I'm in a completely different world. A lot of games actually kind of do that, and ends up being kind of weird. But it doesn't really affect the game. I mean, there were a lot of times I'll be like in, I don't know, the other game that does this is World of Warcraft. You go from one zone to the next, and basically it's like a different ground texture. You're kind of going through, and all of a sudden it goes from like grassy green to red rock or something. All right, so you see how the cap texture is behaving so differently right here? Like I'm able to. So I got this transition between these 2 materials, this sort of green rock, and then the coral, the orangish coral. So I started experimenting with the idea of having like the sand blend. So I ended up messing with this for a long time trying to get the right look. But my goal is to get just the right amount, like where it's a loose sort of sand, and then a thick sand that goes that that comes from it. So like I have two versions of this material, this cap material, which again, two versions of the cap material doesn't really work if this is sort of like a Minecraft thing. So it's going to be interesting to figure out how to work with that, because a block type in Minecraft is a very specific thing, whereas with this, a block type in this might just be like lots of sand or thin sand. But the reason why I'm doing the thin sand is because I want to, looking at the geometry that's already done by one of the other designers in this environment, he has these kind of like edges that come up, but they don't really blend very well. So what I'd like to do is try and find like a way to do the exact same style, but make the blending really effective. So I have a dark, like a sand, like a thick sand, and then a light sand. So during that process, I was communicating with the other designer who is working on safe shallows, and making sure that we're going back and forth on what works and what doesn't. And I'm just kind of at this point kind of experimenting with getting it to work. Just coordination. All right. Thank you.